It's Wednesday, March 20. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. A raft of new housing benefits are coming down the pipeline. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced plans by the National Housing Trust to create the limit for loans by $1 million, raising the ceiling for construction loans.
The NHT seeks to improve access to home ownership. Therefore, the Trust proposes an increase to its current loan limit from 5.5 million to 6.5 million, an 18% increase over the current figure.
Mr. Holness also announced plans to reduce interest rates for all contributors. He declared that now was the time for Jamaicans to pursue their dream of home ownership.
Therefore, in keeping with market trends of declining interest rates, the NHT proposes to reduce interest rates by 1% for all mortgages. These adjustments will result in the following changes to the NHT mortgage rate structures. If you're earning previously $12,000 weekly, you would be paying 0%. Under the new system, if you earn $15,000 weekly, you pay 0%. So increasing the rate brings in more people.
The Prime Minister acknowledged that the initiatives would cost the NHT $1.2 billion, but said that some of that would be offset by policy change, which, among other things, would allow the Trust to transfer unclaimed contribution funds to income 10 years after they become due. He was making his contribution to the 2019-2020 budget debate on Tuesday. The National Housing Trust, NHT, is to undertake infrastructure upgrading at 49 housing schemes across the island at a cost of more than $2.5 billion. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during his contribution to the 2019-2020 budget debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
In St. Elizabeth, we're doing Lower Works and Jerusalem, $28 and $23 million. In Westmoreland, Culloden, $60 million, and Bethel Town, $50 million. That is in terms of spending to repair the scheme, in terms of infrastructure, roads, and even some river training where the scheme is near a river. In St. James, we're doing Farm Heights and Pitford. In St. Anne, the civil housing scheme. In St. Mary, Barreef Hall and Gale. In Portland, Woodstock, a lovely community, and Anchovy. And in Kingston and St. Andrew, they're doing Avalon Court Phase 2, Grant Spen, and Corville Gardens apartments. They're doing Duhaney Park, Hemingway, and Sherlock Crescent as well. And they're doing Duhaney Park, Brook Valley housing scheme. In total, that is $813 million being spent by the NHT.
The agency will embark on an additional 33 projects that cost $1.7 billion beginning the 2019-2020 budget.
In the upcoming fiscal year, they will be doing Orange River in St. Mary. They will be doing Bushy Park in Clarendon, Ashley Hall. In Manchester, they will be doing Cedar Grove, Chudley. In Kingston and St. Andrew, Mountain View, Delacree Park housing scheme. They will be doing Brownstone and Victoria Avenue, Grant Spen. In St. Anne, Monique housing scheme, Edgecombe. In St. Elizabeth, Lower Works and Jerusalem. In Westmoreland, Orchard. In St. Elizabeth, Esher housing scheme, Trelawney, Hague, and Vanzeland. In St. Thomas, Yalla's housing scheme, Red Hill Spen. In St. Catherine, Southborough, Riverside Park, thank God. Cumberland, Portsmouth, Newsworks, Cromarty, Hellshire, Westchester, Hamilton Gardens, Ebonyvale, Charlemont, Lime Tree Grove, Church Pen. That's $1.6 billion.
The Prime Minister advised that the NHT has partnered with other government agencies, including the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development and Municipal Corporations, National Works Agency, and National Water Commission to make these projects a reality. The White House says U.S. President Donald Trump will meet with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and leaders of 4 other Caribbean countries on Friday in an effort to strengthen cooperation on security and trade issues. The meeting at Mar-a-Lago, the president's Florida resort, will also feature the leaders of the Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and St. Lucia. In January, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Haiti, and the Bahamas were among CARICOM countries that controversially voted in favor of a U.S.-backed resolution at the Organization of American States not to recognize the legitimacy of the current term of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says Trump will use Friday's meeting to thank the leaders for their support for peace and democracy in Venezuela. She says Trump will also discuss potential opportunities for energy investment. She says the United States remains a, quote, good friend to the Caribbean and seeks to build on a proud legacy that as the region's partner of choice, end quote. The Mandela Highway realignment and reconstruction project is just over 90% complete. This from National Works Agency, which quoted Senior Communications Officer of the organization, Ramona Lawson. In a release, Lawson said activities on the highway are now focused on pavement work, with several sections of the vicinity of 6 miles interchange asphalted recently. She noted that the first lift of asphalt has been applied to the ramp on the westbound carriageway, which will be used to access the overhead bridge, while adding that the Q ramp on the opposite side has been prepared for asphalting. Lawson further pointed out that construction work on the second half of the box culvert near 6 miles is now complete, and works are ongoing to get the area up to base level and to prepare it for paving. The Mandela Highway, which spans St. Andrew and St. Catherine, is a key thoroughfare in the nation's road infrastructure, which serves to link Kingston and the northern, western, and southern sections of Jamaica. The project falls under the Major Infrastructure Development Program and is being executed by the China Harbour Engineering Company Limited. Jamaica Public Service says the 190-megawatt natural gas power plant, which is presently under construction, is now over 90% complete and will be commissioned into service by the third quarter of the year. In a release on Tuesday, JPS said once the new power plant is commissioned, the older Old Harbour Bay plant will be decommissioned in phases until it all is taken completely offline by the first quarter of 2020. JPS CEO Emmanuel De Rosa said the development will be a, quote, game changer, end quote, for the generation of electricity, saying, quote, this will mean that roughly 1/3 of our power generation will be coming from a brand new facility. This translates to greater efficiency and will also help to keep prices stable, end quote. The new power plant will use natural gas as its primary fuel, with automotive diesel oil only as a backup. The Old Harbour Bay community has also benefited from the project. According to JPS, over 200 people from that community have gained employment as part of the nearly 600 people who have been employed to carry out the construction project. The U.S. dollar on Tuesday, March 19, ended trading at $124.88, up by 19 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. Meanwhile, the Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $94.17, up from $92.32, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $165.10, up from $164.82. In regional news, we look to Guyana, where on Tuesday, Guyana Elections Commission GCOM Chairman Justice James Patterson advised President David Granger that the earliest general election and regional elections can be held is late November. Patterson's letter to the president came days after he was asked to provide a work program and more details about the readiness of GCOM for early elections. However, the letter from Justice Patterson said the president did not have the blessings of the three opposition-nominated commissioners, Bibi Sadiq, Sas Ganraj, and Robinson Ben.
I have never seen in excess of 4 years on the commission a document, a policy document, minutes, or any other document which says that house-to-house registration needs to be held at this or that interval. I have never seen that. And we've asked for it on more than one occasion and have not been furnished with that document. So at this stage, anything I hear about the necessity for house-to-house registration, I will disregard because it is not something that is founded in any law that I am aware of or in any policy that has been made available to me. What I am aware of is the necessity for the holding of national elections, which are regional and general elections, within 90 days of the successful passage of a no confidence motion, which we all know was on the 21st of December 2018. We also know that there has been no extension of the time within which that election ought to have been held, and as a consequence, the necessity for those elections stand as we are today.
Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brown has slammed the European Union's recent tax blacklist as prejudicial. The EU had included several Caribbean countries such as Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, Barbados, Bermuda, Dominica, and Aruba on the list. Already, the Dominica and Belize has publicly condemned the EU's position, and Prime Minister Brown said moves are on the way to get CARICOM to issue a statement indicating that it finds the move deplorable and will resist it.
In the first instance, the European Union has no jurisdiction. They have no right to be issuing any such sanction lists, and I see they call it a blacklist. We also see that as an affront. It is prejudicial, and what is happening here is that they are trying to avoid tax competition. They're literally overriding our sovereignty to decide on our rate of tax and trying to recover monies that really do not exist.
In sports, we are at the stumps with cricket. Cricket West Indies, CWI, has responded to a quick info report that it has accepted liability in an unfair dismissal brought by the former West Indies coach Phil Simmons. CWI in response said it has never denied liability in Simmons' dismissal for no other reason than to have an amicable resolution in the interest of West Indies cricket. They also said negotiations with Simmons and his representatives are ongoing with a hearing date set for March 26th and, quote, "We are hoping to reach a settlement soon," end quote. Simmons, the current Afghanistan coach, has claimed damages of some $400,000 US. Simmons was sacked in September 2016, having complained publicly about, quote, "interference from outside," end quote, in the selection of sides. And still with cricket, Cricket West Indies President Dave Cameron has rubbished claims that he has animosity with CARICOM leaders. Speaking recently in an interview with Sportsmax, Cameron, who will seek re-election later this month, says contrary to popular belief, he enjoys a favorable relationship with CARICOM leaders, with only 2 or 3 of them whom he hasn't seen eye to eye.
I get the impression CARICOM, and it's not CARICOM, and I think we keep saying CARICOM. There are 2 or 3 prime ministers who have a view. There are a number of other prime ministers who have a contrary view. And if you know prime ministers, they're not going to come out publicly and fight against each other. And Prime Minister Gonzalez and Mitchell are elder statesmen within the CARICOM setup. But we have relationships, and excellent relationships with Prime Minister Chastanet, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit of Dominica. The Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister has written me a note publicly supporting what we're doing. Relationship with the Prime Minister in Barbados, relationship with the Prime Minister. As a matter of fact, I have personal relationship with Gonzalez and Prime Minister Mitchell as well. So again, I say to you, there are no issues. We have no personal issues. The Prime Ministers believe that the structure needs to change. The structure is not Dave Cameron's structure. The structure is West Indies cricket structure. For the structure to change, all the territorial boards have to say that this is what we want. And these prime ministers are prime ministers of these countries. All they need to do is instruct their board to change the structure accordingly. Why is that Dave Cameron's problem?
And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.